Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayantara Rai, working from home. We've been highlighting how EdTech has perhaps been one of the biggest buzzwords of 2020. Well, no choice really. If you're going to keep studying, educating your kids, upskilling yourselves, what are you going to do during coronavirus? EdTech. So if you look at the first 9 months of this year, we've seen nearly 76 deals and they're worth about $1.4 billion. I'm going to be talking now about the next deal that we have actually seen in the EdTech space. Today, we've had Lead School acquiring the artificial intelligence-powered gamified student assessment platform called QuizNext for an undisclosed amount. What's interesting is that just very recently, we did see Lead raise about $28 million in funding by investors like WestBridge Capital. I'm now going to be joined by Sumeet Mehta, the co-founder and CEO at Lead School. Sumeet, what a 2020 it's all turned out to be for all of you, right? Accelerating plans, growing way faster than any of you thought. You're a small base though in 2020. Is this kind of growth possible in the new year? Because your base, there's going to be a base effect at play.
What we are seeing, Nayantara, is that schools are really recognizing the need for technology, which was not apparent to them before COVID. So I think that's been a big realization. And in the last 3-4 months, we've actually added as many schools as we had in the last year. So I think we are on course for our growth, and thankfully, with the new realization among schools, we'll actually see faster momentum.
Now tell me about the acquisition that has been announced today. How big is it? I know the press release doesn't share an amount. Can you tell us how big this acquisition is, what you hope to get from it, and how big the acquirer has been?
Yeah, see, I guess the need for this came from what we were hearing from students. And, we've heard a lot about the efficacy of online learning. Our big learning has been that online learning actually can be very effective if it is supported with adequate practice. And QuizNext actually brought that capability to Lead School, where we could offer all our students, and we have close to now 500,000 students on our platform. We could offer them practice after the live or asynchronous classes, and that's really effective because then students can clarify their doubts, they can practice more, and that really consolidates their learning. So more than the size of the deal, I think the strategic value of QuizNext for our students is immense. And we hope that with this, we literally complete our learning portfolio for our partner schools and our students, so that they're not only attending live classes, but they're also able to practice using the QuizNext platform.
And in fact, we've seen a whole host of M&As, particularly in the EdTech space in 2020. Whether it's you've done it, an academy's done it, Baiju's of course is the mother of them all with White Hat Junior. Can I ask you, as a serious player in the EdTech space, that why this trend has been pretty much only for this sector? You can't say it's been across the board M&As in 2020 for startups.
See, I can speak about ourselves. I think what we've experienced is that, COVID has been literally like a non-linear event in EdTech. And what it has brought to fore is that suddenly, what parents were and students were getting through the physical schools, they're expecting all of it and more now in online. And schools were not really prepared for it. So a lot of organizations who were supporting schools, they could actually make the choice of building everything themselves, which would have taken them a long time. But, basically adding features that students need. That is where M&A has helped play a role, where some of the small firms which didn't have a lot of market traction, but had really cool and important features which could accentuate student learning. Those are the kind of M&As that we are focusing on. Some of the other players may have done it for different reasons, but for us it has been how can we create a complete stack of student experience, and whatever we can't build in the short term, if there is someone else who's done it, maybe we can partner together and bring it to our students.
So are you looking at more acquisitions? Because inorganic growth also lets you suddenly grow much faster. You got money in the bank, you did that $28 million fundraise.
Yeah, I think for the right partners, definitely. I think if you look at the complete suite of student learning experience, practice was one. I think remedial is another. And the more we personalize learning for students beyond school, the better the student learning outcomes are. So people who are doing great work in personalizing learning, we are interested. But we are going to be choiceful because it's not just it's not just to drive growth. I think by ourselves we are clocking decent growth. So that's not really the big driver for us. For us, it is about how do we complete the product experience suite for our students so that they can continue to get excellent learning. So that's the lens through which we look at M&A possibilities.
What can we expect from Lead School in the new year as you go into 2021? In 2020, EdTech was, of course, a necessity. There was no other choice. We're also talking a day before inoculations of the COVID-19 vaccine in the UK. I don't know when we're going to have in India, but the Prime Minister is saying it's going to be sooner than later. So in the Corona world, for the post-Corona world, what are Lead School's plans?
Yeah, see, I guess one thing which we have understood is that ultimately core learning and core education is not going anywhere. The way of its delivery is going to change definitely, and it's going to see an evolution. So in the post-corona world, what we are looking at is that schools are going to go through a transition similar to what banks did when the core banking systems were implemented. So historically, schools have been literally analog and publishing based systems. And we are going to see a rapid acceleration in terms of adoption of technology and schools moving to school integrated systems. And, LEAD being the pioneer in that is going to lead that wave. But it's very apparent to school owners that the traditional way of, using just only books and analog materials is not going to work, because when they are faced by such unprecedented events like a COVID or any other such break, they're not prepared to handle it. But if they are able to leverage technology, then they're able to still provide seamless learning for students, whether they are at home or in school. So I see a rapid migration, and post-COVID schools are going to look very different. Schools will stay, but they look very different in the post-COVID world.
And with that, Sumeet, here's wishing you all the very best. Congratulations on the acquisition coming soon after the $28 million fundraise. Here's wishing you and the entire Lead School also a very happy new year. We'll look forward to having you back on the show.
Thanks,
with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short commercial break, but stay tuned. A lot lined up for you on the other side, including Jeff Bezos' plan of sending the first woman to the moon. We'll also get you an exclusive conversation with Mark Zuckerberg's sister, Randy Zuckerberg. That and more coming up.